Birds chirping, bees buzzing, flowers blooming, dystopian illusions being shattered. It's that time of year, y'all. Can y'all hear that? The bees are going crazy on this avocado tree. And I'm grateful they're here. I'm grateful. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God. You know, save the bees. I love Bee Movie. But I'm hoping that these are commuter bees and not a whole hive of bees, because that is just... I do not have the bandwidth to deal with that.
Finessa.
Yeah, something's clearly been snacking on these leaves. Good for them, I guess. Alright, I'm no Oprah, but this is what I harvested today. 3 early girl tomatoes. Ironically, I picked them late. And these giant, look how, can you see how big this lemon is? Like, I've been working on companion planting. Look at this, companion planting.
No.
Companion planting. Companion plants. Anyway, companion planting is... What I was trying to say is that in nature, you're not going to see just one kind of crop growing alone. You're going to see a variety of plants growing together, which is what helps them naturally fend off pests and different types of diseases. So the idea behind companion planting is to grow your more vulnerable plants alongside plants that work well with their different strengths and weaknesses. A little bit upset because the gardener came in and mowed down every single one of my marigold saplings as if they were weeds. Also, Mr. Stripey's not doing too hot. Whatever this black fungi is, it's all over him and the peppermint plant that I bought around the same time. So I'm gonna take them both up before it spreads. But on the bright side, quite a few things are coming up and starting to flower. Baby's first flower. It's a rainy day here in lockdown Los Angeles, and I'm surprised that I can be out here at all. Last time I was here at my grandmother's, I was not prepping for rain like this, so I know there are some plants that need rescuing. I'm so sorry. You did not deserve this. I just wanted to feel light and easy today. Introducing a camera to this is kind of weird for me because I'm used to just being out here whispering sweet nothings to my plants, but I think I'm gonna get a lot done today. Hold up. So I got a problem. I love this species of tomato, but it's so susceptible to disease, it's killing me. It's actually not killing me, it's killing her, but it could be some fault of my own, but it could also be a pest that I can't see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I normally do for her, which is a little neem treatment. No journal entry from this day, but I was listening to an interview with writer and community gardener Ross Gay. The interview is titled Tending Joy and Practicing Delight. I'll put a link below for whoever wants to listen. But in it he talks about how important it is to train your gaze toward joy, right now especially. Of course, that's easier said than done, but what really stood out to me was the connection he made between joy and mortality. To experience joy is to acknowledge, even without saying so, that all things have an ending. Without the shared experiences of death and loss, we wouldn't have the same appreciation for simple moments of connection in the present. Something I really needed to hear that day.
Oh, I meant to ask you. Did you want some mint to go with those lemons? Mint.
Man, I would love something.
It's doing really well after the rain, so.
Even though we're in a cursed timeline, knowing my plants are growing day by day always gives me a reason to smile. Something to look forward to. Gave my veggies and the surviving marigolds a little TLC, fed the avocado tree with the last of my fertilizer, and decided to put down some flowers in the more barren parts of the garden. Starting by really aggressively watering. Then I used this super extra tool called a seeder to help open up the ground a little bit more, so that I can put these dichondra seeds down for what will hopefully be a really pretty ground cover if it's not mistaken for weeds first. And under my grandmother's window, I put down a seed mixture that should attract hummingbirds and butterflies. Only after I planted all these did she tell me that she actually hates the strong smell of flowers, but she loves butterflies, so hopefully it'll work out.
Come on, I know y'all there. Can you see? Those are actually parrots, like bright green parrots. I don't know how. I feel pretty good right now, like right now. This morning, that's a different story. Like midday, also a different story. But I feel really good in this moment because I'm looking at all my plants and I'm like, oh damn, even though it was super hot over the weekend and I wasn't here towards the end of the week because I was just going through it. Do I have to explain? My plants, even though they are a little bit neglected, are doing really well, and I can see the growth versus like when you're here every day you may not notice it as much.
So the radish, womp womp, that clearly cannot be right.
This is a journey into sound.
I found out that it's the extremes that make it crack. So it was that it had dried out and then it was a week-long rainy period, and it wasn't that it had a disease, it was really just that it wasn't being taken care of consistently enough, so it started to crack.
I'm also trying to figure out what's going on with my tumbling tom plant. Tomatoes are super vulnerable to pests and disease already, so it's hard to tell, but I think possibly spider mites. It could also be some sensitivity to the neem oil I sprayed the leaves with, or even the fact that the soil is super dry and just doesn't hold moisture well to begin with. Whatever it is, being more consistent would go a long way.
And now we're at the end of the month, or beginning of the month, depending on how you want to look at it. Although not really, because that's just how time works. Like, it's a fact. It's not really perspective. It's just like, you know, time. More time comes after the time, which is a bit much if you ask me, but perspective. So, end of the month, let's talk about what's growing well and what we can work on in the next month.
That's new. This side is a little more lush than that side, which doesn't surprise me because there's like a nice sun pocket that at certain times of day comes right here and will shine for probably an extra 2 or 3 hours versus what this part gets. So I'm gonna maybe look into some different cool weather flowers or things that I can put there. I do not see many of the dichondra flowers or dichondra plants coming up, which leads me to believe that that might have been doomed from the start, but that's okay. So that's where I'm at, which leads me to ask myself, what could I improve on? How could I grow in the next month? 2 things come to mind. Number 1, being more consistent. I think if I were more consistent in the care that I give myself, in the care that I give my plants, we would all be doing a lot better. And also just whenever I feel myself getting worked up, to know that endings are not absolute. Not for nature, not for me. Clearly I have plenty of room to grow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will link my social media, the interview I watched, and of course the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music you heard today by Finessa Fleur. Please go stan. Please go stan. And yeah, till next time.